Chip here, live and exclusive on Apex Racing TV. Apologies, we're having a few issues with the pictures right now, so it's radio style commentaries. We just head off for lap one, and we are away. We've got Godestad. He's on pole. And he's made a blinding start. His teammate Strom tucked up just behind him as they round turn one for the very first time here at Red Bull Ring and head up the hill. Everyone falling in behind one another, but Burke, the Scandinavian, he's had a good start. He's into third place right now as everyone filing along in one train. No major overtakes happening. Intermission right now. But our leader, Godestad, just running wide there. And Strom right behind him, having to take the defensive line already to prevent Burke, his fellow Scandinavian, from coming through there as they run down to Schlossgold, now down the hill. Strom's gone defensive to the inside once more. And Burke desperately trying to find his way through, trying to look for the undercut as they come down to Roush and Worth right now. And Strom, he's on the attack of Godestad. This is a role reversal right now. The front three absolutely all squirming over, fighting over the same inch of tarmac. And it looks like Burke, he's going to head up the inside, just getting the jump on Strom there. But he spun. There's contact between himself and Strom, and he's gone spinning, and he's fallen right through the order as it's all happening here. And Burke, after what was an amazing start, has fallen right down through the order. And as they come round the final corner, Red Bull Mobile complete their first flying lap of race one. Your leader is Godestad from Strom. Lacine, the AM, he's made up 3 places. He's into third overall already. Gavenchu, he's made up 4 places. He's into 4th right now of what's been an absolutely epic start here at Red Bull Ring in the first race of today. Godestad currently leading by 7/10 of a second. Lacine, he's just dropped a little bit back off the front too. After we lost Burke from that battle between them, he's around about 1.5 seconds off our lead too right now, with Gavenchu tucked up right behind him. From there onwards, it's a one long train all the way back to 20th place. Glamo, who's currently occupying that one, but your top 10 right now, Godestad, Strom, Lacine, Christensen, Gavenchu, who's just lost it into Schlossgold, and he's falling right down through the order. He's gone out through the gravel, he's rejoined. It doesn't look like he's managed to keep it out of the barriers there. There's no damage to his Porsche Cup car, and after what was a great start from 4th place, he's lost 10 places. And he's down to 14th. We've got Christensen currently into 4th. Scott Mokes, the Brit, he is 5th. Tom Cope, our winner last time out at Mid-Ohio. He's into 6th place. Regea, he's into 7th. Humantis 8th. Ward 9th. And Forster currently occupying your top 10. Your leader in AM is Lacine, as he said, in 3rd place overall. A great result for him. And his 2nd place is Wadsworth. He's in 11th overall. And Minot, he's in 12th overall right now, so they come down into turn one once more to start their 2nd flying lap here. Godestad is not hanging around whatsoever. A brand new fastest lap there, but that's only going to come tumbling down as the fuel starts to burn up, the track starts to rubber in here in Austria. But what's been a great start for him was he's just heading up the inside right now. That is, just having a little look at that one, I think that was Parker there just trying to make some moves into turn 3. So we just watch our leader right now. 1 second clear is Godestad, as we've got pictures with you now, so it makes life a little bit easier for you to see what's happening out on track. Godestad leading the way and extending his gap over his teammate Strom. That's the gap's now out to 1.1 seconds. Lacine just dropping back off this pair a little bit right now. Belgium currently in 3rd. The RPC Esports, Christensen, the 3rd man of the team. He is currently in 3rd. You can see Lacine getting involved here, one of the AMs. Red Bulls, they come down now. To the right, onto the brakes, and Yamantas under a world of pressure right now from David Ward. And everyone just following through right now, and it's been relatively safe, other than the spin from Burke. We haven't had too many incidents in this opening section. Let's just see, oh, that's a slow down there. But one of the cars just in the background, that's the 170. which is Drakea falling through the orders. There's fighting around in the background there. Just getting free wide, but Forster now looking to make the attack onto Ward in that pink Porsche. So they come hard onto the brakes into Remus. Who's going to come through as we've got two wide, two sets of two wide in the background there. Gafenchu, Kundlis, Merchant all involved in that. As we head up the hill a bit further to now the highest point on the circuit. And now we begin the descent into Slosh Gold. And Ward is defending for his life there and just runs in a little bit too deep. And I think that was Forster there, sorry, Yamantas just coming back at him. These two trading places left, right and centre here as they round Roush and then Worth, the double left-handers here. Not really chance of an overtake. But definitely the drivers remaining incredibly close behind one another right now. And this group, starting off with Mantis, they're so tightly packed between them all. It could go absolutely any way, and Ward is really onto the back of Yamantis right now, the lead of this group. That pink Porsche is really starting to turn at the pressure, but equally, Ward is under attack from Forster there as well, as they look up into the slipstream. Who's going to come out on top? Into turn one, Nicky Lauda. You see there, Ward lives to fight another day, Forster electing to drop back in behind him, his fellow countrymen. Okay, just behind him, some Romanians clearly working together a bit in these early stages from different teams. As they head up the hill to Remus, through turn two there, that's like kink. Also, we've got three wide in the background there, it's all happening. It's hard to know where to look here. There's so much action going out on track right now. We see this group still all fighting amongst themselves, which is slowing them up, and they need to be careful because it's going to bring that train that's behind them back into the fight as Forster looking to find some grip around the outside there, having to run it in a bit more deeper. Just the attacks from Drakea and Maya. Drakea's just managed to get his way past in that, and also just in front, just in the foreground there. Don't know if you caught it, Yamantas, he's lost a place to Ward. And those two have been trading places right since the start. Currently on lap 4 here. 7 minutes completed out of the 25 in race 1. Of course, we've got a second race to come after this. The top 8 will be inverted. Right now, Yamantis will be on pole. However, so many cars right behind him. That's could well change dramatically. And all it takes is one mistake from any of these drivers, and they're going to lose a whole load of places. As you see, Forster trying to find his way past, unable to do so into Nicky Lauda, just sneaking up the inside a little bit, able to find a way past into turn 1. But this is what it's all about. Oh, so we've got a spinner in the background there. I think it might have been Silka or Jensen there. As you see in the background of this little group, well, we've got Parker scrapping it out with Wadsworth there. Around Remus. We head down towards Slosh Gold now. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? A little bit earlier on in the race, maybe to get a little bit adventurous. It's easy to lock up with no ABS on these cars. As we see Forster there and Minot scrapping it out, these two. And where they're doing that, they're starting to fall off the lead three in this train of Ward, Yamantis and Drakea. Fascinating stuff between all the cars out on track right now. They sweep round the double left-hander of Roush and then into Worth. Pretty chance to overtake through here, as we mentioned, and if you get a brilliant exit potentially into right, the first of these two right-handers that are coming up, there is a chance, but it's not really the best place. You're better off saving yourself for the start-finish straight. However, we've seen already from this championship so far, so many great moves that you just weren't expecting to come off, and the drivers have been able to pull them off so easily with spectacular fashion. Just see Parker there trying to make progress over Wadsworth behind Minot right now. He's set up right behind him, but in this lead group, Ward leading from Yamantas and Drakea. The seats dropped a couple of places. Christensen's managed to get ahead of him, and he's battling with Mokes over 4th place. There you go, over out of Remus. You see those two side by side, and Lassine, after that blinding stuff, getting himself up to 3rd overall. just dropping back a little bit now into 5th, but still with Minot tucked in that battle with Forster and Wadsworth. He knows he's going to be relatively safe, but he's still not preventing the AM driver from trying to make progress and really take it to the pros right now. See, already some great results so far from the 4 races across the first 2 rounds to his name. Of course, he won race 2 at the last round at Mid-Ohio, which was, if you haven't seen that yet, was an absolutely epic race for the Porsche Cup Championship. And one worth mentioning, well, things just quieting down a little there. Shout out to, well, 3 sponsors for this evening in this race. First off, it's Virtual Racing School. If you're looking to improve your on-track performance with 50+ data packs from road and oval racing setups, track guys, data analysis software, and also one-on-one coaching. We'll talk about more of the sponsors as we go through the show. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with when we go live on Apex Racing TV. So you watch all the great coverage that we have. Great overtakes like we've got in the background there as Cope and Lacine go at it once more into Remus. Nice to hardly anything to separate them right now. Scott Mokes is starting to pull away from these groupers. He looks to hunt down the lead 3. There are all the RPC Esports guys who, after the first round at Bathurst, had locked out the podium in both races in Pro. Of course, Mid-Ohio, it was only Christensen took the win. Strom was second, but we had a new driver to the podium in Pro. It was Lang. He's unfortunately not with us tonight, so disappointed to see him not here. It'd be good to have someone take it to the fight and break up the dominance of RPC Esports. As we see these two at it once again, Cope and Lacine. That absolutely epic livery, that blue, yellow and pink and white livery. It's really striking. It's the more traditional blue, red and green there. Lacine, Cope trying to find his way past. Can he get the move done into turn 1? It's going to take a bit of bravery on the brakes. He decides to just back out of it. We're at half race distance. Your top 10 right now are Godestad, Strom, Christensen, Mokes, Lacine, he's also leading in AM. He's 5th overall. Cope, Ward, Yamantas, Drukea. Nice to just, and Forster's just got ahead of Drukea, but right now, Lacine still having to fend once again into Remus. He's getting a much better drive out of the corner there. And Cope just feels like he's being held up right now on losing time to Mokes. Has pulled out around about a 1.8 second advantage over these two. You can see him just in the foreground there, heading around Schlossgold, as Lacine once again hugs that inside line, making Cope do all the work. But now Cope's going to have the inside line into the next 2 corners of Roush and Worth, and surely this is going to be the move done. And finally, the Brit finds a way past Lacine and gets himself up into 5th, and now can begin the fight and the challenge to chase down Mokes, who's also trying to hunt down the top 3 himself, as the Brits look to get themselves onto the podium here in race 1 at the Red Bull Ring. Absolutely great overtake there from Cope as he lined up Lacine. Took him a few corners, started all the way back at Remus, and the entry into Schlossgold, and finally got the move done 2 corners later on the exit of Worth. And as they head down to Nicky Lauda, of course, this corner named after death of the late great Nicky Lauda. See Lacine bumping it across the curve. You need to be a bit careful with that sausage curve on the exit. Really unsettles the car. It could potentially send you, purchase you a one-way ticket into the barrier that's on the right-hand side. Even sometimes on the exit, as Lacine trying to dive it in a bit more. Lacine's definitely been stronger through Remus compared to Cope. Cope looks to be settled in this position right now. Just to bring it with some of the other battles that we've got going on right now. We've got Forster, who's battling it out with his fellow countryman, okay, right behind him. Those two have been scrapping out pretty much since the start. They've got Yamantas and Ward in front of them. What was around about a 7-car train is now developed into a 2, and then a 3. Tricare do. Forster's going to have to defend. He's got round about 10 minutes exactly left to go here in race 1. A 1 minute 30 lap time. It's going to be about 7 laps. He's going to have to defend. Tricare. So they come down in to the last 2 corners now. To right, then Red Bull Mobile head out onto the start-finish straight, and Forster keeping hold of that right now. Just keep you in touch with what's happening for fastest lap. That's currently being occupied by our leader, Goddestad, right now, 1:30.35. One of only 4 drivers in the 1:30s. No surprise, Strom and Christensen are also in it, but Cope is in 5th place right now. It's up 2 places, and he is also in the 1 minute 30s for his best lap. Great result from the Brit. Let's see Forster running in a little bit too deep in. This could be Tricare's chance to strike on the run down to Schlossgold, down the hill. And you can see Forster just taking that defensive line very early on, just hugging it. Definitely seems to be the power play into the Schlossgold, but you need to be careful, because if your competitor can just hold it on around the outside, they then have the inside line for the next 2 corners. But Forster just fends off Tricare once more and keeps hold of that 9th place and that 8th place in Pro right now. Lacine, of course, they're in well amongst the AMs right now in 6th place. You see this battle that Magnot, he was in amongst the cars behind it. Burke, of course, was in 3rd place very early on. He's now in amongst these guys. He fell right to the back of the order, so he's had a great recovery drive as a Scandinavian. Got himself all the way back up into 12. With coming down to 8 minutes left here in race 1. How much more progress can he need to make to the field? Much more spread out right now. Now he's caught up in amongst these guys as Minot is under attack from Parker. Parker slipping it up the inside, but Minot's going to get the better run out of Nicky Lauda. But what has Wadsworth got? He's in the background there, you can see. And that bright, multicoloured livery. Porsche Cup. Down into Remus, and once again, Minot taking that inside line defensive. These two really... Oh no, and he's just lost it. He got it onto the curbs on the outside. His centre's spinning round. He locked the car up, trying to save it, keeps it out of the barriers, and he is out of that fight. And that has allowed Parker through. And obviously Wadsworth and Minot has also dropped behind Merchant and Palmer Lee. He's down to 17th and 5th in class now. You see Yamantas leading this group still. Earlier on, he was battling with Ward quite hard. The 7th, of course, Ward will be on pole as it stands for the moment for race 2. However, Forster and Tricare tucked up right behind him. Expect to see some elbows come out in the closing stages of race 1. And around Red Bull Mobile. So I think Lacine's just managed to squeeze his way past Cope there. That's going to move himself up into 5th place as we see these 3 just follow through Nicky Lauda there. And interestingly, just seemed to care as well, just moving around in the braking zone, desperately trying to find a way past Forster, trying to distract him into the braking zone as best he can. Unable to do so, and a bit of surprise that the driver's struggling for overtakes here. Expecting quite a bit of action. We saw this at Mid-Ohio though, where it was more timid affair in race 1, and then everything went out the window, including the kitchen sink in race 2. People got their elbows out, and lots of drivers, you know, winning, a fair few losing as well, and it was a real great watch for the neutral. As we see Yamantas once again onto the brakes there, into Roush and Worth. Drivers currently completed 12 laps here. 5.5 minutes, so that's all that is left. So that's going to get them around about 4 more laps here. The Red Bull Ring. You see Burke just making a pass, getting past Gavenchu. Back up into 11th now. It's Matthias Berg. He's running out of time. He's around about 4 seconds behind the train in front of him. That is a really, really tall order for him to make up. He said that he's looking at his lap times. He is lapping at around about 0.8 of a second quicker, so there is chance potentially for him to catch up onto the group behind, but it's going to be a really, really tall order. He's going to need to put qualifying laps in for every single lap that is left here in race 1 if he's to stand any chance, but then he needs to try and find a way past him. We've seen it's been really, really challenging for Trukea to get past Forster. Currently battling over 9th. Still holding on to that pole position for race 2 by being in 8th place. Goddestad still leading from Strong by 1.7 seconds. Christensen in 3rd, Mokes 4th. Messine, wow, what a drive from him. 5th overall. Leading in Cope 6th. For Yamanta 7th, Ward, Forster, Trukea rounding out your top 10. It's going to be interesting to see what Burt can do in race 2. So we can take it to the RPC Esports drivers who are occupying positions on the podium right now. Can they find a way past them? As they're going to be starting just in front of him in race 2 as it stands at the moment. If they don't have any issues potentially, as Ward really starting to feel the pressure from Forster as that gap has closed right up. Only 0.2 of a second. Ward runs it right out of Red Bull Mobile. If he's got any off-tracks left, he'll be using every single one of them tactically. Right aboard with Forster right now into Niki Lauda, turn 1. Be careful, that curve on the inside and the one on the exit. Just deals with those like a pro. That's a long run up the hill. Through turn 2, this king to the left. He's gone defensive. He knows he's got Trukea right behind him. And he just about see him coming into view there on the left-hand side and around the outside. The Romanian goes and gets past Forster and gets himself up into 9th place. A spectacular move there into Remus. In the dying stages of the race, he finally finds a way past Forster with a great, great move. And the big question is, can he get past Ward and thus get himself onto pole position for race 2? Not left here at all now. Just looking at it, probably got about 2, maybe 3 laps left here of race 1. And what can Dan Trukea do? Can he get past Ward, the privateer, in that pink Porsche? Inspired by the pig Porsche livery. This one ran many years ago. It was revived again recently, well, about 4 seasons ago at Le Mans. They also ran a revived Rothman-style livery as well in the Le Mans 24-hour on the World Endurance Championship. Now Trukea, after building his confidence round the outside into Remus against Forster, is now closing right into the back of Ward, and he's going to surely be looking for the same style move. He knows he can do it. Can Ward defend from him? He's gone defensive to the inside line like Forster did. Here comes Trukea on the brakes. Ward just moves a bit across to cover himself up. But can he poke Yamantis' pocket and they all compress up? But here comes Forster. He's going to have the best drive of all of them out the corner as they run down the hill to Schlossgold. Absolutely anything could happen between these guys. And my PC just froze. Oh, no. No, we're back in again. Apologies about that. Definitely technical gremlins in the way at the moment. Oh no, and there's contact, and that's Trukea gone. After making great, great progress, the Romanian falls through the order through no fault of his own. But right now, Goddestad, he's going to run out our victor here in race 1 with a flawless drive from him. Oh, no, sorry. I thought it had ended there. Apologies about that. There's still, it was the white flag. I thought it was the checkered flag that was flying there. They've still got 1 lap to go. Can Strom do anything? He's got around about half a second gap between them. And right now, as it stands, Forster is going to take that podium for race 2. With Ward falling right through the order. He's taking it to the pits. That was so unlucky for him and Drakea being caught up together with one another. But for the final time, they come down to Schlossgold, and Storm really starting to close up onto the back of Goddestad. You expect a flawless exit from Goddestad, but here comes Strom coming alongside. He's on the left now. He's going to have to take this outside line the long way round into Worth and to Roush, looking for the cut back now. Realistically, he's going to have one more chance into right. Or is he going to try and make a big lunge on the exit of Red Bull Mobile and try and get him on the run up to the line? Remains to be seen. He's having another look and a prod and a probe, but he elects to stay behind him into right. And he's running out of chances now. The final corner, Red Bull Mobile. And is this Goddestad? He's going to hold on, surely. Yes, he is. And he's going to take the victory. Only just, though, with Strom only 1/10 behind him at the line. A great finish between those two. Lacine, a great drive from the AM. He's going to come home first in AM, but more importantly, 5th overall. An absolutely brilliant drive from him. You see, drivers start to come across the line. Burke fouled for all the order early on. Comes home 10th after falling right to the back of the field. Great drive from him, but it's not all over. So we see Palmolive running incredibly wide there, out of right. We've got Sparlik in this group, Kundalis, Jensen, and all. This is going to be a race to the line and a slow down surely there for, it was that Palmolive, and it's all happening on the run up to the line. We'll be able to bring you classified results very shortly, as it's all happening here. Of what's been absolutely a race that just came alive in the latter stages. Goddestad taking the victory. Strom in second, Christensen third. Again, another lockout in the third of the season in the podium positions for RPC Esports here in this championship. Just waiting for the final cars to cross the line right now, and then we can bring you up with your classified results here from race 1. There we go. Goddestad taking the victory by 1/10 for the second over teammate Strom. Christensen in third. As I mentioned, that's the third time this season we've had a lockout from the RPC Esports team. Of course, that was at both races at round 1 at Bathurst. Able to do so at Mid-Ohio, but Scott Mokes in 4th, Lacine, your winner in AM, and 5th overall. Tom Cope 6th, Umantas 7th, Dominic Forster, he was 8th, and more crucially, he was starting from pole for race 2. Kafenchu in 9th, Matthias Burke rounding out your top 10. Then it was James Parker. Peter Wadsworth comes home 12th and 2nd in AM. Merchant, the Frenchman, he was 13th and 3rd in AM. Then it was Tom Minot, Sparlek, Jensen, Drakea, who was so unlucky after getting caught up in that incident at Schlossgold. Mark Silcock was 18th. As we move through the rest of the field, I mean, it's been so tightly packed between so many of the drivers. It was just having a little bit of a look as a few technical issues within the system, but there we go. Kundalis into 19th. Galamo 20th. Palmolive, Ward and Harasta rounding out your field. Of course, Harasta retiring the car very early on after the first lap. Oh, wow. What an absolutely epic opener here to race 1. Now, the driver's just heading out into a bit of a warm-up session. Worth mentioning a couple of other sponsors we have for this league. SDK Gaming. If you're looking to add a live virtual HUD, to iRacing, show time tells in half, relative boxes, mini maps, fuel calculators, and more. To so with them, use it to stream to Twitch with the most complete overlay on iRacing. Also use it to broadcast your league and series, like we do for all of our leagues here at Apex Racing TV. And also, we've then got finally Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs, setups, track guides, integration with VRS, one of our other sponsors, weekly group coaching sessions, and much more. Now, we're just about to head into an ad break now. We'll see you very shortly on the other side of that, where we head into race 2. back as the warm-up session just coming to the dying stages right now as, wow, after an epic race one and wishing to sort out his slight technical issues that he's having just before the race. I'm joined by DJ Clark to help provide his sumptuous sounds. Maybe not quite as sumptuous as, of course, the Giuliano's classic of The Sound of Music, being here in the rolling hills of Austria. But, well, DJ, I know you managed to catch some of it, but what an absolute barnstormer of the first race right at the end there.
Absolutely incredible stuff, Tim. Exactly what you expect out of the Red Bull Ring. This track just continues to serve up greater and greater bits of action, and I, for one, can't wait to see what happens here in race 2.
Definitely, it'd be great to have you on board as well. Of course, as we've seen so far this season, race 2 with that inverted top 8 has formed the grid. It's definitely throwing up some interesting races, shall we say the least, DJ.
Yeah, most certainly. We see a lot of aggression from the drivers here in this second race as they just want to try to push their way forward to get up to that front side of the grid. And with the drivers inverted like that, it certainly throws everything a little bit out of whack and makes them be all that more hasty to get up front.
Indeed, let's wait for the last few drivers to take the grid and then we'll be away. Here in race 2, Forster, he's starting on pole thanks to that 8th position in race 1. Yumantas sharing the front row of the grid with him. Cope, Lacine, had an absolute epic race 1. Looking to carry that over to race 2. He's starting on the 2nd row in 4th place. Mox, Christian, Strom and Godestad. Fenchu right behind them. But here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing. The Apex Racing Academy Porsche Championship as everyone's lighting the tyres up off the start line there. People having to move around. An absolute shocking start from Forster from pole there. Enveloped by the whole grid as they come down into turn 1. Yumantas has got the lead as Lacine has come through from the 2nd row of the grid as well. He's up 2 places into 2nd as they run up the hill towards Remus right now. Everyone nose to tail fighting at those same inches of tarmac. Forster's had a shocker. He's down 10 places into 11th as everyone, oh, there's contact in the midfield. There's one of the RPC guys there. Caught up, that's Strom. Oh no, he'd be absolutely gutted by that one. He had a great start and now he's down to the back of the grid. As we head down to Schlossgold now, we've got Christensen, he's under attack. As Lacine, oh no, Lacine's gone spinning in the middle of the track. Everyone has to take evasive action to try and come through him after what would have been a brilliant start from him. Getting up into 2nd. You can see the 2 red RPC cars there, taking the inside line. Christian and the head, one at the front. Then we've got Cope, then Godestad in the other RPC car. Beck just dropping a couple of places in the background there. I think he might have even spin potentially. You can see some dust in the background and him falling through the timing sheets right now. And wow, DJ, we know race 2 tends to bring a bit more spice to the table. And wow, it really has done in this opening lap.
It certainly has. I'm barely able to sit there and watch it all as you take all of that in. Lacine trying to make a very aggressive dive down into Schlossgold, and that's what threw him off. But as we continue to watch here, Thomas Cope doing a good job to withstand the pressure from Godestad behind him, but that mega draft coming down the straightaway here out of Niki Lauda. There's the Cope to the outside from Godestad. He's going to have to go the long way around, but he thinks he's got the speed and the draft from his teammate.
Looks that way, and there's definitely a bit more grip where you avoid the great big bump in the road on that inside line, but somehow Cope just managing to cope with it. Excuse the pun there on his name, but you can see a change potentially coming in for the lead here. This is Yumantas. He's got Mox tucked up right behind him in that 110 Porsche Cup car. He has to settle for 2nd right now, but those 2 scrapping out are going to bring Christensen right into it. Cope and Godestad. And also the Kafenchu as well, right onto the back of them. Martin Sparlak, he's had a great start in 7th place. He's the leader in AM right now. Jensen and Minot are 2nd and 3rd in AM in 10th and 12th respectively. So we just see them head down now into the last but one corner. Who is going to come out on top between Yumantas and Mox? Behind him, just spreading out a little bit. Godestad has managed to make his way past Cope, get himself up into 4th place. to come round Red Bull Mobile to head out onto our second lap of adventure and drama, surely, of if anything is to go by for these opening 2 laps here of race 2. Hard onto the brakes from Gavenci, almost into the back of Cope there. Gavenci, a man on the move, fastest lap of the race so far. Definitely keep one eye out for those RPC Esports guys. We know that they've got strong pace around here. As we see, this is a change for the lead as Mokes heads up the inside. Yamantas needs to be careful. He could lose to Christensen as well, but he just about defends it. Just covered off enough of the line to prevent the Scandinavian from making progress and getting himself up into second, but Mokes takes the lead here, and he's going to hold on to it into Slosh Gold.
And that is going to be crucial, although we have seen a lot of passing getting done going down into berth in this infield section. That's not normally an area where you see it get done, but especially out of these RPC Esports drivers, they seem to be very, very aggressive, very, very confident on the brakes going down into that about 3rd or 4th gear corner that is Verth. So kudos to them, and I think for Yomantis, he has got to be checking in his rearview mirrors for the majority of this lap, as it looks like more overtaking opportunities than you would normally expect are on the table.
He's pulling out a bit of a gap now of half a second over Yomantas in second. That's what begins a big long train with pretty much all the cars only separated by 2 seconds. So that's Yomantas, Christensen, Godesad, Cope, Ventu, Smarlak are currently our leader in 7th place. You can see just in the background there with Parker just coming up behind him. As they come round Nicky Lauda, everyone nose to tail, bumper to bumper as they head up the hill towards Remus. Mokes has pulled out an even bigger gap. He's now pulled another 2 attempts over Yamantas. But here comes Christensen looking to get a move to around the outside. Yamantas just yields there, but he needs to be careful. There's a Gaventu really hot on the brakes there, lunging in. And Cope looks like he's going to lose a place to the Romanian as they drag it out down to Slosh Gold. Cope slightly ahead, but look, Gaventu's just got his car up on the inside there. Yamantas loses another place there as Godesad heads through. Yamantas in a world of trouble right now. Gaventu finally gets the move done on Cope, and they all sort themselves out. Yamantas the big loser from that, and Cope.
Well, Cope is lucky that he didn't lose more positions there, as there was some definite banging of wheels between Gaventu and Cope as they came through Schlossgold. Not exactly unexpected there to see that. It's very, very common to be banging wheels coming out of that corner, but lucky that both drivers were able to keep things pointed the right way.
It was indeed, and amazing at times that we haven't had more incidents. It's been so close to the racing. As we see, Martin Jensen second in M right now, 10th overall. He's got Kundalis right behind him, applying the pressure, trying to find a way past Septup right behind this. Looks like it's going to be a move into turn 1. They're going to come on the brakes, and that 1-1-1 of Kundalis is going to surely get the move done. But look at that, Martin Jensen says, no, I'm not having any of that. Sweeps across the front of Kundalis. And the Lithuanian has to settle for 11th place, but here comes Magnot now, seeking an opportunity, seeking a chance. But can he get the move done? But don't discredit Ward in that pink. Porsche's all onto the brakes. They all nearly make contact, but here comes Ward. As can he pick both their pockets? Getting great traction off the corner. They're going to almost go 3 wide on the run down to Slosh Gold. What can Ward do? He's got the speed. He's got the pace. Can he pick both their pockets? As they come onto the brakes, amazingly, no one locks up. And Ward, he's going to be on the outside line now for these next 2 corners. Minot just ahead of him. Wow, DJ, I'm not sure how Ward didn't manage to pick up at least 1 place there.
I am too. I thought for sure the way that Minot and Jensen were side by side coming out of Remus that there would be an area for Ward to attack, Minot and Kundalis. But what that means for Ward is that he has now put Kundalis on watch. He knows that he can't just be focused on attacking that 11th place car up ahead. He has got to be watching in his rearview mirrors as that pink Porsche has speed and is willing to use it.
You see him just moving around all over the back of Kundalis, but Kundalis looking to get the move done in turn when he pulls out alongside Minot. He's only just in line with a rear bumper. Ward's going to take that outside line. Is he going to get the move done all the way around the outside? He carries the speed. He's going to be carrying the momentum up the hill, which is where you really need it. Just think that 1 or 2 kilometre an hour difference will make all the dividends of such a long run into turn 3. And here comes Ward on the brakes. Can he get the move done? Kundal's locks up, so does Minot. And Ward heads past both of them in one corner. Ward up to 11th.
A great 2-for-1 there for Ward to be able to get himself up forward. The Privateer doing a great job, but keep an eye on Kundal's here. He's looking very aggressive, and Tom Minot certainly sees it, taking the defensive line down into Schlossgold. A little bit of a lockup ahead for Ward. Could we see maybe an overtake coming down into the infield section? No, I don't think so, as he's able to get the good run ahead. Meanwhile, up front, Christensen starting to close down on your leader.
Yes, that gap was at 7/10. It's now dropped to under 2. Here comes the flying Scandinavian. The Brit Mokes goes defensive to the inside. And what can he do? Can he hold on? He knows he's going to have a compromised line here. He needs to try and hook it out of the last corner. Red Bull Mobile, if he's to stand any chance of holding on to the lead here in race 2. As Christensen is sucked up right behind him, and you think he'll be waiting surely for the run up the hill. You see him just moving around the braking area, just trying to distract Mokes into turn 1. He knows it's so easy to make a mistake, and Mokes has got the 2 RPC cars of Christensen and Goddestad filed in right behind him. Mokes holds that inside line, trying to cover him off, make Christensen do all the work. It's on to brake. Mokes locks up, and here comes Goddestad. And a repeat surely of what we've just seen from Ward. Can Goddestad get past? They go 3 wide down the straight. They back out to 2 wide. Mokes finds some speed and a bit of grip from somewhere, and he's going to hold on surely. But with Christensen on the outside, can he run it all the way around? But look, here comes Gafenchu. He wants a bit of the action. Yamantas isn't far behind as well. And what was a 3-way fight for the lead is fast becoming a 5-way fight. As there goes Christensen up the inside of Mokes. But here comes Gafenchu, completely picking the pocket of the napping Goddestad, who's trying to find his way past the 2 cars in front of him. Didn't think about the Romanian, and he gets it up into the podium places.
Goddestad absolutely not expecting that at all. Mokes thinking about it there going into Rint, but not able to get it done. He's going to run that car very, very wide, trying to take as much momentum as possible. Mokes not giving this position up lightly. He is just going to have to focus here, I think, on the exit out of Niki Lauda if he wants to have a little bit of a blast, as they've got about 0.5 of a second back to Gavenshu, so that'll give them a little bit of breathing room.
But we know just one lockup into Remus, which is so easily done with such an elevation change in the corner. Anything could happen right now as Christensen under pressure from Mokes, Gafenchu under pressure from Goddestad. It looks like Christensen's going to hold on to that position from Mokes, but is he? As Mokes gets a brilliant drive out of Remus and pulls his Porsche 911 Cup car alongside the Scandinavian and trying to get the advantage on the run down the hill to Schlossgold. He's going to be on the inside. Can he reclaim the lead here in race 2? A slight lockup from Gafenchu there in the background as he's got Goddestad absolutely all over the back of them, and somehow they remain as they are. Spectacular stuff here in race 2 here, DJ.
Absolutely spectacular, and I'm not sure how Roger Christensen was able to hold on to that position. When I saw them coming out of Remus, I thought for sure that Scott Mokes had that run, but they are definitely starting to push ahead a little bit more here, working their way along, trying to get going here, seeing what they have.
Right on board with Richard Gafenchu right now in 3rd place. Currently, he's got around about 0.3 of a second between himself in 2nd. Goddestad is just behind him, looming, and Gafenchu, he knows it. Just moves to cover off that inside line, saying to Goddestad, no you don't. Just runs it in a bit deep there, and this really could cost Gafenchu, as he really carried too much speed there into turn 1. Goddestad is somewhere alongside him. We switch to the outside. There he is. He's going to be on the outside line into Remus, and he's well ahead, but bravery on the brakes there from the Romanian. Lunges it in deep and maintains that 3rd position. And I'm still not sure how he found the grip there and to not lock it up and still keep hold of that third place.
I'm not sure either. This is brilliant defensive driving that we are seeing. Just absolutely incredible stuff from Christensen and Gavenchu.
Be interested to see what Yumantas can do. Currently in 5th place, but also just look in the background there. Cope and Parker, the two Brits in 6th and 7th overall right now. They are slowly, bit by bit, starting to reel in. They were battling a bit more earlier on, but I think they sense that they can see physically just how much these 5 are scrapping it out, what is turning out to be an absolute dogfight here in Spielberg. And they know that they can join in the fight if they just work together a bit more now. As these 5 start to settle down a little bit as they come through Red Bull Mobile to head out onto their 9th lap. They are coming up to a back marker. I mean, that's Tom Minot just ahead of them. What part can that play in this story? Can someone just take a slight advantage, box in their opponent? We look down now from the helicopter view as we head up the hill. We're going to really see who's going to get the advantage on the slipstream. There's Goddestad there. Surely, can he make a brave move like Gavenchu has done? They come onto the brakes and no! Mokes has run it in too deep. He's going to lose 2 places. He could even lose a place to Yumantas. No, he doesn't. But now he's got Goddestad right alongside him as they head down the hill to Schlossgold. And Mokes, there's that one mistake has cost him so dearly from what was a potential win. And now looks like he's down in 4th, but he's keeping it alongside Goddestad. If he can just hold it in, no, he can't. I was going to say he can have the inside line for the next 2 corners. But look, we said about him not that but this time, last lap, I think it was. Cope and Parker, that gap is visibly shrinking right now.
It is indeed. All of this battling, allowing for the rest of the field to really pull back in. And as a result of that battle that Gavenchu had, trying to get around Mokes, he's let about a 1-second gap develop up to Christensen ahead of him. So Christensen can start breathing a little bit easier, but the race certainly still on for this 2nd place position.
You've got a 4-way fight for the last 2 places on the podium. If they keep battling, so that gap shrinks visibly once again behind Yumantas to Cope and Parker. And this could very, very easily turn into a 6-way fight for those last 2 positions on the podium. They're coming up to the back marker of Tom Minot, currently in 19th. Our last actual physical runner on the field. Retirements for Forster, Kundli, Strom and Harasta as he gets right out the way of this long train of lead cars. It doesn't affect them whatsoever, which isn't going to, I mean, help them in some way. And you're saying there, DJ, about the gap Christensen have pulled out. Gavenchu is almost half that. It's down to 6/10.
Really remarkable there from Gavenchu. That just shows you how much speed is behind the wheel of that 144 Porsche. Really, really good to be able to pull himself up there. Yeah, he's got it down hovering to about 0.6 of a second right now. He's got to try to keep it nice and tight through the infield. This is where he lost some time on the last lap.
Was indeed, and you have to wonder with this pace that Gavenchu is showing right now, just where has it been all season as he really takes the fight to Christensen, as he tries to hunt him down, and in doing so, pulls himself away from the clutches of Goddestad, who's currently in 3rd place. He does have Mokes breathing all over his gearbox right now, and obviously his engine, the engine being in the rear of these cars as Gavenchu. You see just how hard he's pushing as he runs wide and the rear end of the car just getting a little bit squirrely there as he tries to find every single 10th, 100th, 1000th of a second that he can to try and close up to Christensen. Last time around he was 1/10 quicker than Christensen. What can he do? Got around about 7.5 minutes left here in race 2 as they all start to slowly just spread out a little out of this lead group.
Indeed, just a little bit of that spacing starting to take place is really Goddardstead starting to gap Mokes a little bit. Mokes able to keep that gap back to Yumantas nice and large, so they don't have as much to worry about. Yumantas, Cope, and Parker, they look to be in a little battle unto themselves back in the back.
I mean, the big question is, DJ, really, is what state is everyone's tyres in? They've been battling so hard, this league group. who was overheated their tyres, and therefore just maybe needs to just chill out a little bit for the next few laps to try and bring those temperatures down and bring them back, back into the race. Otherwise, we could see them, really struggling for grippers. There you go, Gefenshu runs wide there, out of worth, and now he's got Godestad. He's got his time to strike into right, and can Godestad get the move done? But Gefenshu makes it as difficult as possible, holds on round the outside, and just about somehow, and I'm not sure how, keeps hold of that second place for now.
That is absolutely incredible. Trying to have a move down into Rent, not exactly an area you see a lot of overtaking done. So heads up there for Godestad. A little bit of contact between himself and Gefenshu, but look how close he is. Gefenshu ran a little bit wide over that sausage curb on the exit of Niki Lauda. I think this is going to be opportunity open here for Godestad.
Who is going to be the last of the late breakers into Remus? Will it be Gefenshu? Will it be Godestad? Gefenshu just holds on, but here comes Mokes. Godestad looking for the switchback on the Romanian. Can't quite get it done. Gefenshu cuts across to the inside line to cover off any advances, any progress that Godestad could make, and momentum he was carrying on the run down to Sloshgold. But once again, oh no, as he locks up Gefenshu, and that finally allows Godestad through. And now he's got Mokes absolutely all over the back of him. And right now, Gefenshu, the Romanian, it feels like he's starting to crack a little bit under the pressure.
Well, I think it may also be a little bit of that tire overheating that you talked about earlier, Tim. It could be that the tires of that 144 starting to wear off a little bit. We saw the big squiggle coming out of Worth on the last lap. That would, to me, say that those rear tires in particular may be a little bit overheated, and he caught a little bit of wheel spin coming off the corner.
Now, just looking at the train behind him, we've got Mokes, then we've got Yamantas, who's now got Cope all over the back of him, and then we've got Parker at the back of that three-car train that's behind the two that we're looking at as Mokes looking to find a way past Gefenshu. Of course, this over the last place on the podium here in race 2. Will it be Mokes? Will it be Gefenshu, or could someone else come into the mix here? Of course, Cope, he was our winner last time out in race 2, currently in 6th. It doesn't look like it's going to be a victory here for him in race 2 again. But can he get up onto the podium? That group behind them needs to run together. 4.5 minutes is all that is left here in race 2. Going to be around about 4 laps, approximately. Depending on when the drivers come across the start-finish line, as it is a timed race. And now Mokes, he knows surely that those tyres are going to be worn on Gefenshu. What state are Smoke's own tyres in? That's the big question, DJ. Has he left enough on the table to try and get brave and start getting aggressive to Gefenshu?
Well, I think he just may have coming through here. If you watch the way he was driving on the last couple of laps, it wasn't that much of an aggressive move from Mokes. He seemed to just be okay to sit back and let things happen ahead of him. You weren't seeing any of those late-minute dive bombs that he was throwing when he was having the battle up with Christensen, Godestad, and Gefenshu earlier. I think Mokes may have been preserving the tires a little bit.
While we were looking then, Parker's managed to slip it through ahead of Cope to get himself up into 6th place. So we now see our third in class, Mark Silcock, just closing in on the back of Burke, who, despite, we saw the pace he had in qualifying, and obviously at the very start of race 1, but unable to make progress as the pro driver in race 2. Bit disappointed from him to see Wadsworth closing in on the back of Daniel Merchant right now, the Olympus Esports driver. His teammate Tom Cope a bit higher up, but these two in different categories. Cope and Merchant, that is. And what can Peter Wadsworth do? Can he find a way past? But as we see, that's James Parker, the privateer, really, I'd tell you what, after finally getting past Cope, you can see it's built a bit of confidence into him, and he's closed right up pretty much instantly onto the back of Yamantas. And now what's going to happen to Yamantas is just, after a great start from him, it's just slowly been falling through the field a little bit, and now currently in 5th.
Yeah, he's really starting to push a little bit there. Almost running right on the exit of Worth there, dipping those toes nearly into the kitty litter. But he is putting a lot of pressure here onto Yamantis, just trying to see if he can elicit a mistake out of that 117. I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see a bigger overtaking opportunity presenting itself here in the next couple of laps for Parker, the way he's driving.
Got 3 minutes left. Oh, that's Cope into the pits. Is that that's gonna be a drive-through, surely? He must have hit his instant limit. There's no damage on that Olympus Esports car. And he's had to take a drive-through. And where is he going to come out? The Brit. He's down into 10th as it stands at the moment. I think that's Berg just going through there. I think potentially even Silcock. No, I think he's just going to come out behind Matthias Berg. Oh, absolutely gutting for him. And I was just thinking, you know, how many incident points, you know, off tracks that these drivers potentially got in the bank in these dying stages of race 2. Try and use them tactically now and spend them as, you know, but also you don't want to get too ambitious because of well, like Copa's just experienced, you end up with a drive-through and it just completely and utterly destroys your race.
It really and truly does. As we watch here, Parker able to get his way by Yamantis in that little interlude there. So a good job for the 120. He will be very, very happy with that. But yeah, if these drivers have been able to keep all 4 tires on the road for a lot of it, watch on this final lap for them to really, really push and try to see if they can maybe run a little bit wide to carry a little more speed out of some corners like that final run there.
Coming around, he takes the white flag. That is the final lap. 1 lap here to go in race 2 of round 3 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship. Who looks like he is going to come out on top, bar a mistake. But who got to stand looking relatively safe for second. But who will snag that last place on the podium? Will it be Kafenchu? Will it be Max? Makes a little bit too far back to make a lunge into turn 3 for now. But can he close up? Kafenchu, as we were saying earlier, his tyres just seem to be that little bit more worn compared to Moak's right now. They head down the hill to Sloshgold. We look back from Kafenchu right now at Moak's. 4 temps, 3 temps now is all that is separating those two. You see where Moak's really closes up in the braking area into Sloshgold. As they now round Roush and Worth. I think potentially Kafenchu might just have done enough. Bar a lock-up, it's the last couple of corners. He may well hold on as we see Christensen here coming round. Come past one of the back markers. I think that's Dan Jacrea, who absolutely gutting for him after having a cracking race 1. Well, cracking start to race 1. Unfortunately caught up in those incidents. 1 lap left, so 1 corner left to go for Christensen to claim the victory. What is going to be his second victory of the season for Roger Christensen here at the Red Bull Ring in race 2. Goodestad comes home second. Kafenchu holds on to that 3rd place for his first time on the podium in the championship. A great drive from him. We see now Tom Cope really running it wide. He tries to find a way past Burke in the dying stages, but he's not going to be enough. As we've got another run to the line here, Jensen just holds on over Silcock. Zwarlek, I mean, we've hardly mentioned him all race. 8th overall, and your winner in AM. A great drive from him as well.
A very good drive, and apologies to him for not showing him more of that battle up the front. Just so engaging. You can't take your eyes away.
You can't, and it was, well, at one stage it could have gone absolutely any way, and well, if there was any rubber left on those rear tyres, won't be by the time these guys are finished with them. Donuts down the exit of Remus, synchronised donuts from so many of our drivers there. Just lighting them up in a cloud of smoke. Your winner here in race 2 has been Christensen, and a great drive from him. Wow. I'll tell you what, while we're just these guys, we'll see if we can bring you your official classified results very shortly. Then we'll start to speak to some of our drivers now. There we go. Your official results, there we go. Christensen, just to confirm, it is your winner from his teammate Godestad in second. Gefenchu, first time on the podium in the championship with that third place. Scott Mokes unable just to line, able to find a way past, has to settle for fourth. James Barco, great drive towards the end of the race, getting up into fifth. Yamanta sixth, Ward seventh, Sparlek eighth overall, and your winner in AM. Burke and Cope rounding out your top 10. Then it was a run of AM drivers with second and third place. Jensen and Silcock making up 11th and 12th overall. Then it was Lacine, Wadsworth, Merchant, Palmer Lee, Glamo. And then Dan Tricare finishing one lap down in 18th. Tom Minot as well, one lap down. Then it's on to the retirees. Dominic Forster, Arturus Kundalis, Storm, and then Harasta, who unfortunately didn't make the grid, the Czech driver. Wow. Let's have a little chat, though, with Roger Christensen, our race victor here in race 2. Roger, that just looked like it could have gone absolutely any way at one stage. There was about 6 of you all scrapping out for the lead.
Yeah, it was close, and I feel like the draft on this track is really strong, so getting away is a bit difficult, and when the guys want to fight, it's gonna be a lot of cars in the front.
Obviously, we saw, not long after you managed to get to the front, you managed to pull out around about a 1 second lead due to the battles that were happening behind you. Obviously, Kafenchu was leading that train. I think he was battling at the time with your teammate Godestad as well. How much of a relief was that for yourself, that you just didn't have to keep constantly looking into your mirrors, coming into every single corner and thinking about where you would place the car?
To be honest, I was mostly thinking about when was Jo Vegard coming through, because I felt like he was the fastest one today, and I felt like if I just calmed down and put some laps together, the other guys might fall a bit back, but yeah, when he got through, I was a bit more concerned.
Definitely, and it did start to close up in the dying stages. Of course, next time out we head to Sebring. A bit more of a different affair, especially over the bumps, and a bit trickier, obviously, because of those bumps due to the car lacking any, traction control. How are you feeling about that one?
It's gonna be interesting. I haven't driven that much on Sebring, but yeah, it's a racetrack, and we got the race car, so it's gonna be fun.
I'm sure it will be indeed. And before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to my team, RPC Esports, and the guys in the team, practicing and making every day a good day.
Definitely, that's Christensen, who finished out your victor here in race 2. Wow, DJ, let's get lined up for yourself. Let's have a chat with his teammate Godestad. I say Brie, a bit of the royal we for yourself. You can have a chat with Jo Vegard Godestad.
Well, an incredible race out there for you. Obviously, having to fight your way up through the field with that invert. I have to ask you right off the bat, how much of that was attack mode and how much of that was waiting to see how everything would pan out in front of you?
I was going for it, but we also had some dudes behind that was also going for it, so there wasn't really any time to just sit back.
Indeed. I mean, you guys put on one heck of a show there for us. When you were in that battle coming up around Mokes and Gavenchu in particular, about halfway through the race, did tire saving at all enter your mind?
Not really, but I knew that Roger had used more tires fighting Mokes, so yeah, I'd also catched Roger towards the end, so I think that's the tires basically.
Gotcha. Well, we'll ask the same question that we asked to Roger. A little bit of a change in pace next time out when we go to Sebring. How do you like your chances there?
Not sure. Haven't driven it with this new Porsche, but should be less bouncy than the old 911. So we will see.
Well, fingers crossed it'll be a little bit less bouncy. But anybody you want to give a shout out to here today for a great second place finish?
Yeah, shout out to my girlfriend for giving me the opportunity to race in the living room.
That is always a good thing to be able to do. That was Jo Vega Gardestad, your second place finisher here today. Tim?
We'll now have a chat with someone who's really battling it out in the midfield today, Peter Wadsworth. Peter, what was it like in the midfield? It just looked like at times it was just one long slipstream train where one tiny mistake could cost you so dearly.
Yeah, it was carnage, I think, is probably the best way of putting it. I guess I think race 1, I ended up P2. And I don't know, who was the guy that won race 1? He's miles away in the AM category.
Yeah, it was Lacine in race 1, yeah.
That's the one, yeah. So he was miles ahead and I was in a scrap for second place, but we were kind of in amongst a few pros. So yeah, it was just that, the only place that you can really get people comfortably is into the hairpin at the end of the lap, but he was covering like super aggressively out of turn 1 and down the straight. And it's really difficult, I think, to cut back on the hairpin and get the run into that dodgy, or what is it? It's not turn 3, is it? It's turn 4, the one down at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really difficult, and there's not a lot of slipstream in these cars still, so you can't really get alongside someone. You just have to, just be a little bit braver.
It's interesting you say about that, because we did notice that on stream during the race that, if you could just, it was all mostly about what sort of exit you could get off the corner rather than relying on the slipstream like you would traditionally do, even if you were, like, say, a few tenths back, because it just seemed like you just lacked momentum coming, from off the corner if you exited both at the same pace.
Yeah, definitely. I think in MotoGP they call this track like 4 drag strips connected by a corner. So it's just trying to get that exit out of turn 1, out of turn 2, and then turn 3, actually the hairpin. Yeah, if you just get it a little bit wrong on the entry, you just get punished for it all the way up the straight. But yeah, it was a good race 1. I need to apologise to one of the Dans, I think, that I collected in that carnage in race 2, so I'm sorry to him. I was trying to avoid the person in front of me. The only place I had to go was outside, and then Dan was there, and I clipped him. So yeah, sorry to Dan for that. That was my fault.
No, that's completely fair enough, and so it's good to see that everyone has so much respect for each other in this championship. Before we let you go, Peter, is anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
Yep, as always, thanks to the Apex team for organising it, and yeah, shout out to my brother's company, Tech Native Live Sports Broadcasting. So yeah, thanks for the cool logo for the car.
No problem at all. That's Peter Wadsworth, who second in AMS in race 1 and then 5th in race 2. So, wow, DJ, glad to have you, but to be able to talk to you during, obviously, race 2 due to the technical difficulties you're having with the voice channel on race 1. But wow, I think, it was very similar like we had at Mid-Ohio, where, race 1 was a bit more of a meek and mild affair, and then the gloves definitely came off in race 2.
Exactly. It's a trend we continue to see, that I think drivers are really using the first race as a little bit of a scouting race to just get a sense of how the track's going to go, how the flow of the race is going to go, and things like that. And that once we move into that second race, it is no holds barred, full on attack mode.
Definitely. And if this hasn't been enough action for you, coming up on the channel, we've got the Apex Racing League Touring Car of Britain series. That's round 4 from Alton Park tomorrow night at 8 p.m. GMT. Then on Friday night, we have got at 9 p.m. the Radical Racing Challenge there at Watkins Glen for round 7. Saturday night is the F3 VRS Super Series round 8 from Laguna Seca. That's at 8 p.m. GMT, and followed an hour and 45 minutes at 9:45 by the Formula Renault 3.5 Championship. They are at Barcelona, and then of course on Sunday night we'll be back in the commentary booth for the SRF Weekend Warriors. We head to Donington, and wow, it's been absolutely cracking 2 races here at the Red Bull Ring in round 3 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship. if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening on the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you know when we go live here on YouTube. You can also follow us on social media. We are at Apex Racing TV on Twitter. Facebook is facebook.com/Apex Racing TV, and Instagram, well, you've probably guessed it, it's Apex Racing TV. From myself, Alex and DJ, have a good evening, and we'll see you in a week's time as we head across the pond to Sebring.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.